English podcast with English After Coffee.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English After Coffee. I'm Rachel.
And I'm James. Thanks for joining us today for another episode where we help you improve your English in a fun and relaxed way.
That's right. And before we start, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bells so you never miss our English lessons.
Absolutely. And if you find today's episode helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps other English learners find our content.
So, James, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're focusing on something super practical: how to talk about your daily life in English. This is perfect for A2 to B1 level learners who want to describe their everyday activities.
Exactly. We'll cover everything from morning routines to weekend activities. And here's what makes our lessons special.
We'll speak slowly and clearly, repeat important phrases, and give you time to practice speaking along with us. So don't just listen, participate.
That's the best way to learn. Are you ready, James?
I'm ready. Let's start with morning routines, Rachel.
Now, James, before we jump into the main content, let's tell our listeners exactly what they can expect from today's comprehensive lesson on daily life conversations.
Absolutely, Rachel. Today's episode is specially designed for learners who want to master everyday English conversations. We'll cover 6 major areas of daily life, and in each section, we'll give you practical phrases, real examples, and plenty of opportunities to practice speaking.
That's right. And here's what makes this lesson extra special. Each time we introduce a new phrase, we'll say it slowly first, then at normal speed. Then we'll give you time to repeat it out loud. Don't be shy. Speaking practice is crucial for building your confidence.
Also, this lesson works for different skill levels. If you're a beginner, focus on understanding and repeating the basic phrases. If you're more advanced, pay attention to our natural conversation style and try to pick up on the rhythm and intonation patterns we use.
And we'll include some cultural notes too. Sometimes the way we talk about daily routines can be different in various English-speaking countries. We'll share some of these differences as we go along, so you'll be prepared for real conversations with native speakers from around the world.
Remember, everyone, talking about your daily life is one of the most common conversation topics you'll encounter in English. Whether you're meeting new people, making friends, or just having casual conversations, these phrases will be incredibly useful in your everyday interactions.
Perfect. So, James, tell me about your typical morning. What time do you usually wake up?
Well, I usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I'm definitely a morning person. What about you, Rachel?
Oh, wow, that's early. I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. I need my sleep.
That's totally normal. So after I wake up, I usually brush my teeth first thing. Then I have a quick shower.
Right, good hygiene habits. For me, after I wake up, I always make my bed. Then I get dressed and go to the kitchen for breakfast.
Breakfast is so important. I usually have coffee and toast. Sometimes I have eggs too. What's your typical breakfast, Rachel?
I always have cereal with milk and fruit. And of course, coffee. I can't start my day without coffee.
Me too. Coffee is essential. Okay, everyone, let's learn some key phrases from our conversation. Rachel, let's start teaching.
You know what, James? I think our listeners would benefit from hearing about some variations in morning routines. Not everyone has the same schedule or habits, right?
Exactly. Some people are night owls who struggle with mornings, while others are early birds who love getting up before sunrise. Let me share some different examples. My friend Sarah says, "I'm not a morning person at all. I usually hit the snooze button 3 times before I actually get up."
I know so many people like that. And then there are the super organized ones. My colleague Mark always says, I prepare everything the night before. I set out my clothes, prepare my breakfast, and even pack my lunch. This way, my mornings are stress-free and efficient.
That's smart. And let's not forget that many people have completely different morning routines on weekdays versus weekends. During the week, I'm rushing to get ready for work. But on Saturday mornings, I take my time, read the news online, and make a proper cooked breakfast instead of just grabbing coffee and toast.
That's so true. And here's an interesting cultural note. In American English, we often say, I grab breakfast when we eat something quickly. In British English, you might hear, I have a quick breakfast, or I pop in for breakfast. Both mean the same thing, eating something fast before leaving home.
Great idea. First important phrase, I usually wake up at. This tells people about your normal routine. Listen carefully. I usually wake up at 6:30.
Perfect. Now you try. Repeat after Rachel. I usually wake up at 6:30. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I usually wake up at 6:30. Great job. Now try with your own time. I usually wake up at. Go ahead. And remember, you can also say I normally wake up at or I typically wake up at. These all mean the same thing.
Great point, Rachel. Let's also practice some different time expressions. You can say, I wake up at 6:30. I wake up at 6:30. Or I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. All of these are correct ways to express the same time.
Excellent. Next phrase. After I wake up, this connects your morning activities. Listen, after I wake up, I brush my teeth.
Nice. Let's practice. Repeat. After I wake up, I brush my teeth. Ready?
After I wake up, I brush my teeth. Well done. Here's another example. After I wake up, I make my bed.
Right. Now you try. After I wake up, I make my bed.
After I wake up, I make my bed. Perfect. One more important phrase. I always have or I usually have for talking about food. I always have coffee for breakfast.
Great example. Your turn. I always have coffee for breakfast.
I always have coffee for breakfast. Fantastic. Now let's practice together. Rachel, what time do you wake up?
I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. What about you, James?
I usually wake up at 6:30. After I wake up, I have a shower. What do you do after you wake up, Rachel?
After I wake up, I make my bed. Then I get dressed. Great practice. Now let's move on to work and study activities, James.
Exactly. And speaking of breakfast, I think we should spend some time talking about meals and food habits throughout the day. This is such an important part of describing your daily life. James, let's add a special section about meal times and food preferences.
Brilliant idea, James. Food and meals are definitely a huge part of daily conversations. People love talking about what they eat, where they eat, and their favorite foods. So let's dive into this topic. Rachel, tell me, besides breakfast, what's your typical eating schedule like?
Well, I usually have a mid-morning snack around 10:30, maybe some fruit or yogurt. Then I eat lunch at 1 o'clock. I prefer light lunches during workdays, like a salad or sandwich. For dinner, I usually cook something more substantial around 6:30 or 7. That sounds very organized. My eating schedule is a bit different. I usually skip mid-morning snacks, but I have a bigger lunch around noon, often something hot like pasta or rice with vegetables. I also have a small afternoon snack around 3:30 to keep my energy up for the rest of the workday.
That's interesting. And I think many of our listeners have different eating patterns too. Some people eat 5 small meals a day, others prefer 3 large meals. Some people are vegetarian or vegan, others follow special diets. The great thing is you can adapt these phrases to describe any eating style.
Absolutely. And let's not forget where we eat. During the week, I usually eat breakfast at home, lunch at my desk in the office, and dinner at home with my family. But on weekends, we might go out for brunch or have dinner at a restaurant. Where you eat is just as important as what you eat when describing your daily routine.
Great point. Now let's learn some essential phrases for talking about meals and eating habits. Everyone listening, get ready to practice these useful expressions.
First phrase, I usually have, or I typically eat. These describe your regular meal habits. Listen carefully. I usually have lunch at 1 o'clock. Notice how natural this sounds when talking about meal times.
Excellent. Now repeat after me. I usually have lunch at 1 o'clock. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I usually have lunch at 1 o'clock. Well done. Now try with your own meal time. I usually have dinner at, or I typically eat breakfast at. Go ahead and practice.
Fantastic. Next phrase, I prefer. This shows your food preferences and choices. For example, I prefer light lunches during the week, or I prefer cooking at home rather than eating out. This phrase helps you express your personal food choices.
Great example. Let's practice. I prefer cooking at home. Ready? Repeat after Rachel.
I prefer cooking at home. Perfect. One more useful phrase. I tend to. This describes your general habits or tendencies. I tend to eat lighter meals during the week, or I tend to snack in the afternoon. This is a more advanced way to describe your eating patterns.
Excellent phrases. Let's do a quick practice conversation. Rachel, what do you usually have for lunch?
I usually have a salad or sandwich for lunch. I prefer light meals during workdays. What about you, James? When do you tend to have your biggest meal?
I tend to have my biggest meal at lunchtime, actually. I prefer lighter dinners in the evening. Great practice, everyone. Now that we've covered morning routines and meals, let's move on to talking about work and study activities.
Excellent idea. So, Rachel, tell me about your workday. What time do you usually start work?
I usually start work at 9 in the morning. I work from home, so I don't need to commute. That's really convenient.
That sounds great. I usually leave home at 8:30 because I work in an office. I take the bus to work every day.
Ah, so you commute. How long does it take?
It usually takes about 30 minutes. It's not too bad. During work, I usually have meetings in the morning and do my project work in the afternoon.
That sounds like a typical office schedule. For me, I usually check my emails first thing, then I work on content creation. I always take a lunch break at noon.
Right, lunch break is important. I usually eat lunch at 12:30 with my colleagues. What time do you finish work, Rachel? I usually finish work at 5:30. Sometimes I work a bit later if I have deadlines. What about you? Before we dive into the work phrases, James, I think we should mention that our listeners might have very different work or study situations. Some are full-time students, others work part-time jobs, some are freelancers, and others work traditional office jobs. The great thing is, these phrases work for all situations.
Absolutely right. For example, a student might say, I usually have classes from 9 to 3. Then I study in the library until 5. A freelancer might say, I work from home, so I usually start around 10 and work until 6, with flexible breaks. The phrases adapt to any schedule.
Exactly. And someone with a part-time job might say, I work 3 days a week at a coffee shop. On my work days, I usually start at 8 in the morning and finish at 2 in the afternoon. Or a shift worker could say, I work different shifts each week, so my schedule changes constantly.
Those are perfect examples. And let's talk about commuting for a moment, since that's such a big part of many people's work routines. Rachel, you mentioned you work from home, but for people who commute, there are so many different ways to get to work.
Oh, yes. Some people drive to work, others take public transportation like buses, trains, or subways. Some people bike to work, walk, or even use ride-sharing apps. And nowadays, many people have hybrid schedules, working from home some days and going to the office on others.
Great point about hybrid schedules. So someone might say, I drive to work and it takes about 20 minutes. Or I take the subway and it usually takes 45 minutes, but I can read or listen to podcasts during the journey. Or I bike to work when the weather is nice. It's good exercise and takes about 15 minutes. I usually finish at 5 o'clock. Then I take the bus home. Okay, everyone, let's learn some key work and study phrases.
Perfect. First phrase, I usually start work at. This tells people when your workday begins. Listen carefully. I usually start work at 9 o'clock.
Great. Now repeat. I usually start work at 9 o'clock. Ready?
I usually start work at 9 o'clock. Excellent. Now try with your own time. I usually start work at...
Well done. Next phrase, I take the bus to work, or I drive to work, or I work from home. These describe how you get to work. I take the bus to work.
Right. Let's practice. I take the bus to work.
I take the bus to work. Great. Here's another option. I work from home.
I work from home. Perfect. One more important phrase. During work, I usually... This describes your work activities. During work, I usually have meetings.
Excellent. Repeat. During work, I usually have meetings.
During work, I usually have meetings. Fantastic. Now, quick practice. James, what time do you start work?
I usually start work at 9 o'clock. How do you get to work, Rachel?
I work from home. What do you do during work, James?
During work, I usually have meetings and work on projects. Nice practice. Now, let's talk about free time and hobbies, Rachel.
Yes, this is such a fun topic. So, James, what do you like to do in your free time after work?
Well, I really enjoy reading books. I usually read for about an hour after dinner. I also like watching movies on Netflix sometimes.
Oh, that sounds relaxing. I love watching movies too. In my free time, I enjoy cooking and trying new recipes. I also go to the gym 3 times a week.
Wow, you're very active. I should probably exercise more. Do you have any other hobbies, Rachel?
Yes, I really enjoy gardening. I spend time in my garden every weekend. I grow vegetables and flowers. It's very peaceful.
That sounds wonderful. I wish I had a garden. I live in an apartment, so I just have some plants indoors. Do you listen to music in your free time?
Oh, yes. I love listening to music while I cook or garden. I also enjoy going to concerts sometimes. Music makes everything more enjoyable. You know what, James? We should also talk about seasonal activities and how people's free time activities can change throughout the year. For instance, my hobbies are quite different in summer compared to winter.
That's such a good point. In summer, I love outdoor activities like hiking, swimming, and having barbecues in the park. But in winter, I prefer indoor hobbies like reading, watching movies, and cooking hearty meals. The seasons definitely influence our free time choices.
Absolutely. And I think it's helpful to think about hobbies in different categories. There are physical activities like sports, dancing, or yoga, creative hobbies like painting, writing, or playing musical instruments, social activities like meeting friends, going to clubs, or joining community groups, and relaxing activities like meditation, spa treatments, or just taking peaceful walks.
Great categorization. And some hobbies can be enjoyed alone or with others. For example, I enjoy reading by myself, but I also love being in a book club where we discuss what we've read. Similarly, you can cook alone as a relaxing activity or cook with friends and family as a social experience.
That's so true. And let's not forget about modern technology-based hobbies. Many people enjoy gaming, watching YouTube videos, creating content for social media, learning new skills through online courses, or even collecting digital art. These are all valid ways to spend free time, and they're becoming increasingly common.
Excellent point. And for our listeners who might be students or anyone on a budget, there are plenty of free or low-cost hobbies too. You can go for walks in nature, visit free museums on certain days, join community groups, practice photography with your phone, or learn new languages through free apps and websites like this podcast.
That's wonderful advice. And speaking of time management, many people struggle with balancing work, family time, hobbies, and personal care. James, how do you manage to fit everything into your daily schedule?
That's a great question, Rachel. I try to be realistic about my time. I usually plan one main activity for each evening after work. Maybe exercise one day, cooking a nice meal another day, or calling family on another day. I've learned that trying to do everything every day just leads to stress. What about you?
That's such wise advice. I do something similar. I block out time for my essential activities first, like work and exercise, and then I fit in other things around them. I also try to combine activities when possible. For example, I listen to audiobooks while I garden, or I call friends while I'm cooking. It helps maximize my time.
I totally agree. Okay, everyone, let's learn some great phrases for talking about free time and hobbies.
Absolutely. First phrase, I enjoy or I love. This shows your positive feelings about activities. Listen, I enjoy reading books.
Perfect. Now repeat. I enjoy reading books.
I enjoy reading books. Great. Here's another example. I love watching movies.
I love watching movies. Excellent. Next phrase. In my free time, This introduces your hobby activities. In my free time, I go to the gym.
Nice. Let's practice. In my free time, I go to the gym.
In my free time, I go to the gym. Perfect. Here's one more. I spend time. This shows how you use your time. I spend time in my garden.
Great. Repeat. I spend time in my garden.
I spend time in my garden. Wonderful. Let's do quick practice. Rachel, what do you enjoy doing?
I enjoy cooking new recipes. What do you do in your free time, James?
In my free time, I read books and watch movies. Where do you spend time, Rachel?
I spend time in my garden every weekend. Excellent practice. Now let's move to evening routines, James.
Great transition. So, Rachel, tell me about your typical evening. What do you usually do after work?
Well, after I finish work, I usually relax for a few minutes. Then I start preparing dinner around 6 o'clock. I like to cook fresh meals every day.
That sounds healthy. For me, after I get home from work, I usually change into comfortable clothes first. Then I help my wife prepare dinner.
Oh, that's nice that you cook together. What time do you usually have dinner?
We usually eat dinner at 7 o'clock. After dinner, we sometimes watch TV together or talk about our day. What about you, Rachel?
I usually have dinner around 6:30. After dinner, I always wash the dishes and clean the kitchen. Then I like to read or watch something on Netflix.
That sounds like a nice evening routine. What time do you usually go to bed?
I usually go to bed around 10:30. Before I sleep, I always brush my teeth and read for about 20 minutes. Reading helps me relax.
That's a good habit. I usually go to bed at 10 o'clock. I'm an early sleeper because I wake up early. Let's teach some evening routine phrases.
Perfect. First phrase, after work, I. This connects your workday to your evening activities. After work, I relax for a few minutes.
Great. Now repeat, after work, I relax for a few minutes.
After work, I relax for a few minutes. Excellent. Another example. After work, I change clothes.
After work, I change clothes. Perfect. Next phrase, I usually have dinner at. This tells people your dinner time. I usually have dinner at 7 o'clock.
Nice. Let's practice. I usually have dinner at 7 o'clock.
I usually have dinner at 7 o'clock. Great. One more. Before I sleep, I. This describes your bedtime routine. Before I sleep, I brush my teeth.
Excellent. Repeat. Before I sleep, I brush my teeth.
Before I sleep, I brush my teeth. Perfect. Quick practice time. Rachel, what do you do after work?
After work, I prepare dinner. What time do you have dinner, James?
I usually have dinner at 7 o'clock. What do you do before you sleep, Rachel?
Before I sleep, I read for 20 minutes. Great work. Now let's finish with weekend activities, James.
Excellent. Weekends are the best. So, Rachel, what do you usually do on Saturday mornings?
On Saturday mornings, I usually sleep late until about 9 o'clock. Then I have a big breakfast and drink lots of coffee. I love lazy Saturday mornings.
That sounds perfect. I'm similar. On Saturday mornings, I don't set an alarm. I wake up naturally around 8:30. Then I go for a walk in the park.
Oh, that's nice exercise. What about Saturday afternoons? Do you have any plans or activities?
On Saturday afternoons, I usually do household chores like cleaning and laundry. Sometimes I go shopping for groceries. What about you, Rachel?
On Saturday afternoons, I love working in my garden. Sometimes I meet friends for lunch or go to the market. I also like visiting museums occasionally.
That sounds cultural and fun. What about Sundays? Do you do anything special?
On Sundays, I usually have a very relaxing day. I like to cook a special meal, maybe invite family over for dinner. I also prepare for the new week.
That sounds lovely. On Sundays, I often visit my parents or have a barbecue with friends. I also like to plan my week ahead. Let's teach weekend phrases.
Perfect. First phrase is, on weekends, I. This introduces your weekend activities. On weekends, I sleep late.
Great. Now repeat, on weekends, I sleep late.
On weekends, I sleep late. Excellent. Another option is, on Saturday mornings, I, or on Sunday afternoons, I. These are more specific.
Right. Let's try, on Saturday mornings, I go for a walk.
On Saturday mornings, I go for a walk. Perfect. Last phrase is sometimes I. This shows occasional weekend activities. Sometimes I visit museums.
Nice. Repeat, sometimes I visit museums.
Sometimes I visit museums. Fantastic. Quick practice. James, what do you do on weekends?
On weekends, I go for walks and do household chores. What do you do on Saturday mornings, Rachel?
On Saturday mornings, I work in my garden. What do you sometimes do, James?
Sometimes I visit my parents or have barbecues with friends. Excellent practice, everyone. Now, Rachel, let's wrap up this episode.
Absolutely. So everyone, let's quickly recap the main phrases we learned today for talking about daily life in English.
Great idea. For morning routines, remember, I usually wake up at, and after I wake up, these help you describe your morning activities.
Right. For work and study, I usually start work at, and during work, these describe your professional day.
Perfect. For free time and hobbies, I enjoy, I love, and in my free time, these show your interests and activities.
Exactly. For evening routines, after work, and before I sleep, these connect your day from work to bedtime.
And finally, for weekends, on weekends, on Saturday mornings, and sometimes these describe your weekend activities.
Now here's your homework. Try using these phrases to describe your own daily life. Practice speaking about your morning routine, your workday, and your free time activities.
That's right. And remember, the more you practice, the more natural these phrases will become. Don't worry about making mistakes. That's how we learn.
Before we finish, please don't forget to subscribe to English After Coffee and hit the notification bell. This helps us create more English learning content for you.
And if this episode helped you, please give us a thumbs up. Also, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell us about your daily routine using the phrases we learned today.
Yes, write in the comments, I usually wake up at, or in my free time, I enjoy. We love reading about your lives.
Perfect. And speaking of next time, in our next episode, we're going to learn how to talk about future plans and goals in English. You won't want to miss it.
That sounds like another great topic. Thank you so much for learning with us today. Keep practicing, keep improving, and remember,
English learning is a journey, and you're doing amazing. Thanks for joining English After Coffee. I'm James.
And I'm Rachel. See you next time and keep practicing your English every day. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Until next time.
English Podcast with English After Coffee.